Yep.
The death penalty has been around the U.S. judicial system since the birth of our nation. It was introduced and influenced by England, and its first recording can go back to 1608. Now, just because something has been done for a long time does not mean it's the correct way. My name is Jose Romani, and I'm here to show you that the death penalty can actually harm our nation, and it fails to achieve its goals. The death penalty can, and has, put risk on innocent lives, it's failed to deter crime, and it's given costs to taxpayers and the judicial courts. First, I'd like to talk about how it can risk lives. Now, like any other case, a death penalty case, it can result in a wrongful conviction. And that thing happens sometimes. Of course, mistakes are made. We're only human. It shows here that in 1989, 2014, these are years that were studied by the state of Michigan, over 1,000 people, they were exonerated from the death penalty. They were shown innocence. They were proven that they didn't do the crime that they were supposedly committing. And yeah, that's great. It shows that there's still some mistakes that need to be corrected. But that's not always the case. The proceedings in the National Academy of Sciences, they show in 40 years worth of convictions and executions, 4% of those people were actually proven innocent. They could have been exonerated. But unlike any other case, the death penalty cannot be overturned. It's not a procedure that can be undone. It's final. And this shows a huge flaw in our judicial system, a feature that we're supposed to be taking pride on. But that's not the only objective that it fails to do. It also fails to deter crime. A huge argument for the death penalty is that it's supposed to discourage murders, serious crimes. But the National Research Council says otherwise. It says that there's no actual relation when the state has the presence of the death penalty and the fluctuating crime rates. The research isn't sufficient. So those claims are really just null. And 80% of criminology societies, they share the same opinion. These are people that are experts in this. They study their whole lives just on the death penalty and its results. Again, this is another goal that it fails to achieve. Just to show you that causation doesn't mean correlation. The next flaw in the death sentence is that the process can be extremely just a waste of resources. In terms of money, the death penalty takes up much more costs, much more examination than an average case. And it can be more costly than life imprisonment. An average is about $3 million per case. That's from the Death Penalty Information Center. And that's not even considering the housing of the inmate. That's not even considering the appeals process, which can take up more years. And that's another huge flaw of the death penalty process, the time cost of it. In terms of time, the death penalty takes up about a few years, just with not even counting the appeals. And as we all know, time is money. The time wasted there is money wasted by the taxpayers and judicial courts. These are all resources that could have been gone to the other trials that are being taken every day, or better yet, be put into other public uses, like schools, or even the flawed prison system, or the police department. In conclusion, all these facts just show that the death penalty and its process, it fails to bring the ideals of democracy that we're supposed to be taking a stand on, puts risk on innocent lives. It doesn't discourage the murder rates, which it's supposed to do, which it's falsely claimed of doing. And it also gives a huge opportunity cost to our time and our capital, two vital resources in the political system. Now, this is an establishment, an institution, death penalty, that we've been taking in since before our independence, since we were colonies. But again, just because something has been done for a really long time, that doesn't mean it's right. Thank you.
Before you sit down, let's close this door because it's a little distracting. I'm sorry I didn't think of that before.
ones here.
Thank you.
That's not good.
Good job.
Wait, you were supposed to give it to somebody else, right?
Oh, thanks.
All right, Jose. The topic is identified, but the way you present the proposition, at first it sounds like you've got multiple claims built into the proposition, and then it turns out that some of those claims are really the preview of the structure. So I can see that you're trying to preview the material, but I think you've done so in a way that kind of conflates the proposition with the supporting points a little too much, and they need to be a bit more distinct for clarity at the beginning of the speech. I couldn't tell if there were 4 supporting points or 5, and it was a little bit difficult to distinguish the supporting points from the proposition, and that's what I think needs to be fixed at the beginning of the speech. However, once you get to the body of the speech, you did a pretty good job signposting the points as you got to them. So I know that we're talking about risking lives of innocent people, it fails to deter crime, and that the process is not very cost effective, basically. So those points, that is the actual structure of the speech. Those were clear. They're nicely signposted. So in the body of the speech, you did a little bit better job at clarifying those things. And you usually explain concepts pretty well as you go along. Sometimes the evidence that you cite is not complete quotes. There's this information that you got from Michigan that sounds like it's a summary as opposed to an exact quote. Because if there have been 1,000 exonerations and you're talking about something that happened in Michigan, that's a lot of people. By the way, Michigan doesn't have a death penalty, so I know it wasn't in Michigan. It's just one of those things that's a little bit awkward. I know that you are, citing some information that you have, but because it's not a direct quote, it sounds like a paraphrase, and it's going to be awkward. When you're dealing with details like that, it's usually best to stick with the direct quote. We did get a citation from the Death Penalty Information Center, but that came after the information that you presented, and I suggested to you earlier that you always want to do that before you present the data, so that would be something to fix also. I think you could use a little bit more statistical data on the second point concerning deterrence, but you did have some good data, statistical data on the first point concerning the number of innocent people who have been exonerated, or the percentage of people who have been wrongfully convicted over the years. I thought that that was pretty solid information. The presentation, I do think you do a nice job speaking to the audience. Your audience contact is good. You generally sound smooth. You do address us for the most part. And I thought you had a reasonable summary at the end of the speech, so that does help. Even if it wasn't well organized at the beginning, it's better organized at the end. All right? Thank you.